Hi guys, I'm Andrea. I'm one of the chairs for the film committee in Thessaloniki National Selection Conference 2018. And today, along with my beautiful co-chair Konstantinos, who's going to be drawing throughout the video, I'm going to explain to you guys why our topic is so important in nowadays society and why we should be considering it as an important topic to debate in this session. So, having said this, let's start. Oxfam, one of the UK's biggest charities, has recently dominated headlines following allegations that its staff hired prostitutes while working overseas. Also, in Germany, authorities have been investigating reports that women in refugee camps are forced into prostitution, whereas in France, a transgender prostitute was killed by 5 men while she was allegedly trying to stop them from robbing her clients. In the eyes of many, prostitution may seem insignificant, as something that does not affect them directly. But don't the aforementioned cases prove that it is now closer to our lives than ever before? Prostitution, usually referred to as the most ancient profession in the world, is characterized by the exchange of sexual services for money. The transaction takes place with a multiplicity of clients, with the latter not being selected, and occurs in a situation of emotional indifference. It is also worth noting that this source of earning is the main source of income and the person that carries out this exchange. In our times, the profession of prostitution carries a huge social stigma and is widely perceived as immoral, while the rights and value of sex workers are being undermined, leading to unequal access to goods and services, housing and accommodation, employment opportunities and justice. This stigma, however, is highly contradictory to the high demand for prostitutes in Europe and all over the world, where 19% of men claim to have paid for sex at least once, while the percentage peaks in countries like Spain, with 39%. It is estimated that around 1,310,000 people in Europe are occupied as sex workers, with 87% of them being women, 47% of which are immigrants. One must not forget that prostitution is in fact an industry that operates on the market principle of supply and demand and creates a revenue of £127 billion each year worldwide, with 2 European countries, Spain and Germany, making it to the top 10 spenders. The so-called whorephobia, best described as the fear or the hate of sexual workers, is fueled by the idea that prostitutes are a public nuisance, spreaders of disease, offenders against decency, or unskilled victims who don't know what is good for them and who need to be rescued. Moreover, the world of prostitution is often conflated with a world of crime, drugs, violence, trafficking. Although common ground can be found between the terms prostitution and human trafficking, since one situation acts as a conductor for the other and vice versa, that does not mean by any way that they are identical. Human trafficking remains one of the gravest challenges the international community has to face, with 51% of the trafficked persons being women and another 21% girls, while a total of 80% of trafficked persons are exploited as sexual slaves. Women who are forced into sexual slavery and illegal sex workers alike are highly mistreated, abused, and violated mentally by both their procurers and their clients, causing them to many times turn to alcohol and drugs for comfort, a situation that intensifies the stigma surrounding their work. A recent pro-prostitution movement that seeks to put an end to this situation has arisen, with sex workers, public figures, and law enforcers supporting the decriminalization of prostitution. In their eyes, the criminalization of prostitution not only does not protect sex workers nor clients, but makes the existing problem even worse. By legalizing the profession, prostitutes will be unionized as workers, granting them welfare, health, and working rights, while taking measures to ensure their safety. Additionally, this means that the sex industry will be treated as a legitimate business and forced into taxation, thus fueling the economy. One could say that the end goal of pro-prostitution movements is to portray prostitution as a regular consumer transaction and prostitutes as normal, legitimate workers, fighting the social stigma that has matured in the minds of public for years now. Currently, the legal approaches toward prostitution vary greatly across Europe. We can find both countries which criminalize all activities related to prostitution and countries which fully legalize it. In other countries, a less extreme approach is taken by allowing some aspects of it and not others. Having said this, I would like to now pose you some questions, guys. 1. Should prostitution be legalized? Who, if anyone, should press charges? Consumers or suppliers? 2. What can the EU do to ensure the safety and the respect of the fundamental rights of sex workers? And how likely is for any legislation to be effective given the nature of their working conditions and practices? 3. What can the EU do to protect those at risk of becoming victims of sex trafficking? 4. What can national governments do to tackle the problems of human trafficking and other criminal activities surrounding it? And 5. Can the social stigma against sex workers be tackled, and should it? Anyway, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned a lot of it, and that you are kind of starting to understand how important this topic is right now. We are both really excited to meet you all and for the session, and we hope you are too. Bye bye.